Okay class, welcome to the 2016 composition, and I'm going to take you through it there. I'm going to compose it here and take you through what I'm thinking as I make my decisions. I'm not looking at a pre-worked out answer. I'm just going to do it here as I'm talking to you. Couple of things there. I have corrected some of your papers, so I'm kind of going to address a few things. First of all, about the key. How do I know it's C minor and not E flat major? Okay, we have the three flats there. We've all made the mistake of looking at the key signature and just jumping into the major rather than checking it's not the relative minor. So take a look at the opening notes. We get a do, ti, la, so it's a very clear minor opening. Also these bars here at the end, and we get a very clear ending on chord 5, the dominant of C minor there. G major would be the ending chord there. Of course the B is naturalized there, so we get this dominant chord at the end. So I'm going to motor on here. I only have 20 minutes on this software to get this done, so I won't hang around. But just before we start, a quick look here, just a couple of things that have come into my mind. Take a look at our C minor scale. Here's our C minor natural scale. Okay, just the three flats, nothing changed. Now, you don't have to modulate in the minor key, but I'm suggesting that in your A1 phrase that you do modulate to the relative major. It gives one phrase there a sense of direction. So your new tonal center would be E flat, which requires a new leading note. So we have a D to E flat there, so you don't need to change a note when you're modulating to the relative major. And that gives us a nice 5-1 B flat major to E flat major. I'm suggesting at the end of the second phrase, the A1. So here is our harmonic minor scale. Okay, so we've got the sharpened 7th note there, the C. That A flat to B natural, that 6th to 7th note can cause a bit of problems in your melodic phrases sometimes. Like, take this little guy for example here. Just have a listen to this phrase. Okay, so it sounds, it's not too bad there, but watch when I sharpen or raise the 6th note as well. It makes it a bit smoother. So we do employ in our melodic writing the use of the harmonic minor scale. Let me get through that really quickly. So by the harmonic minor, I mean sharpening the 6th, ascending when you're sharpening the 7th as well. When you're coming back down, we flatten the 6th and 7th. Keep that in mind. There was a couple of awkward moments in some of your exercises. So here we go. I'll start into the A1 phrase. I'll take this chance as well just to say hello and say that I hope you're doing okay and that you're managing to study and stay focused. Things are fine here with myself, doing alright, looking after 3 kiddies. A bit disappointed with their not going back to school, but they're doing alright besides, so I'm kept busy. But anyway, so let me tear into the A1 phrase, and of course it has to sound a little bit like the given, and yet a little bit different. We have the upbeat there, which we will keep going. It's not compulsory to keep it going, but it seems to be something that has just crept into the way that it's done, that it's, I'd say it's almost expected that you would keep it going. Anyway, let me just I'm just thinking out loud as I go through this here. Da, da, dum, bum, bum. So look, for example, you know, sometimes a rhythmic change can be enough. That's a very clear outline of a triad there. If I get rid of the dot, I've already made a little variation. Have a listen. Okay. Grand, so that's my start. Now, I'm going to go here to the end, to my E flat. This is where the phrase is going. So in this chord, this is bar 7. I'm going to outline B flat major because I'm heading to E flat major here. So let me just, I'm not even thinking of how I'll do this yet. I'm just going to outline the chord of B flat major. I know that's what I want to do with minor modulation. I'll tidy that up and make it more interesting in a second. So I've started my A1 phrase. Okay, now I've made the first bar of that a little bland, so I can afford to go a little bit more exotic with my variation of the second bar down here. Now, I will say this too, that I am going to outline my A1 phrase, but I'm not going to perfect it now. I'm just going to lay it out. I'll come back then in a few minutes and maybe make it a bit more interesting. So, okay, so you can see there that phrase there. It's a little variation on that second bar. So let me take that phrase now. Let's have a listen to all of it. Alright, it's okay. This sounds a little bit bread and butter, not that interesting. So let me go and make that a bit better now. Maybe I'll bring the dot back in here. Okay, so that's a bit more interesting. And I feel, you know, we have this arpeggio that you can do. Go straight to the E flat there. I'm going to suggest that we delay that. So just delays it a small bit. Okay. So I'm going to park my A1 for a second there. Let me listen to the two first phrases, and we have done 7 minutes. Okay, I'm going to put in phrase marks here because you have to. And it just helps us to see where we're going. Right, B phrase is all about the sequence. At my first reading, I'm thinking this nice triad would lend itself to sequence quite well. But also this guy, because it's outlining a third. So I'm going to copy and paste that bar. But where do we start? Okay. Now don't start somewhere oblique or kind of vague for your B phrase. We have ended here. You're thinking, where have I just come from? We've just come from E flat. I want to get back to C minor feel. So you could actually take this whole bar, start on the E flat, and suddenly you're back to C minor by using this bar up here. I've just taken that second bar from the A phrase, started my B phrase with it, but from E flat to C. And I can hear in my head that that will work well as a sequence. And I'm going to naturalize this. And I feel maybe a flourish. Break the sequence here. Now I'm landing on D here. And I know that that is part of the chord of G major, the dominant of C minor. We ended on B natural here, which is the middle chord of G, and now the D. So we have a nice open B phrase there. Bit of a sequence. I am going to change the rhythm a little bit as well. Again, I talked last time about developing your ideas as you go. Let's listen to all that B phrase. Okay, so I'm happy enough with that. I'm going to tie this. Oops. Just to change the rhythm a little bit there. Now we had this little up here. I'm going to do that down here. Okay, so finally there. Okay. I am reasonably happy with that, so I'm going to turn my phrase mark. Which leads me to the last phrase, which is the A2. And again, we need it to sound like the opening. We haven't had really a flourish yet. We haven't had a high point. We could end up here on high C, possibly, which would be a nice way to finish and also give us a high moment. So I'm going to put in a leading note here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I know I do want a strong finish. I'm outlining chord G there. Okay, again, very boring, but it's just a harmonic outline and I'll fill it in. Now, I've made a point up here based on just, you know, some of the corrections I've been making. You need to be aware of what chords you're outlining in places. Now, this is a melodic question, not a harmonic question. So when I'm composing, I'm thinking about the flow of the melody rather than what chord am I outlining. However, when it comes to cadences, excuse me, the end of the phrases especially, you do need to be aware of what you're doing in terms of chords. Like, there's a very clear sense of landing on the chord 5 here, and here at the modulation point I'm aware that I'm outlining B flat, but you know, generally speaking, you're just following the flow of the tune, but at phrase endings do keep in mind what chord you're doing. So I'm just going to leave that there for a second. Quite often this is how I do it. I will just see where the phrase is going at the end and then meet it, rather than starting and working my way and figuring out as I go along. So that's there. I'm going to keep the upbeat going here, and maybe let's have the original upbeat and do a bit something interesting here. So I want the triad somewhere. How about this? I don't know. No, okay, don't like that. I'm going to go back to the dotted crotches. I don't want it the same though. Now, how do we bridge the gap here? Our second bar up here outlines the chord of F minor, which is chord 4. Da-da-dum. We could do something to get us up. Okay, just thinking what to do next now. Okay, let's try this. Outline the chord of F minor, but go up to the upper part of it. This might be better. Okay. At 15 minutes, I have time to do a bit of tidying. I'm going to listen to the whole thing and see. I'm not happy with certain aspects of it, but I want to hear the flow of it now. Okay, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I'm not sure here. I've cut out the upbeat. We could keep the upbeat there. And do something like this. It mightn't be too bad, so I'm going to get rid of this phrase mark here and start the phrase. So again, we're just tidying up here a little bit now at this stage. We're kind of finished, but let me just run those two phrases. Yeah, I'm not wild about the ending here. Maybe that might be better. It's quite a jump. What if I go up here, do this? No, that doesn't work. Let me just try it with the change. You know what? I am not happy with this, so I'm going to bring it down here. It's better to keep it there, I think. Which means we haven't moved outside the range too much. Perhaps here we have, and that might get us away with it, but I've only a minute and a half left. I'm not 100% happy with this, but it is a finished product, I suppose. You could yank the whole thing up the octave, which might work. Okay, let's try it from start to finish. We just have time to hear it, I'd say. I'll take it.